Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Recruiter Table Talk. I'm JT O'Donnell, founder and CEO of Work It Daily and the moderator for today's show. I am really excited to talk to you today about the Recruiting Dream Team, specifically the alliance that every internal recruiter needs in 2023. You know, over the years, I've been really lucky to have a lot of recruiters follow me here on the LinkedIn platform. And I know they are struggling right now. They are struggling to find the right talent. They have hiring managers saying, I want multiple talent to choose from. And they're thinking, I'm lucky if I can find one candidate that's a fit. You're telling me you want three. There's just a lot of pressure right now on recruiters. And so we've got an incredible group here, a wonderful dream team of ladies from the Duffy Group. I want to bring them up here. These executive women specialize in this, are really effective at partnering with internal recruitment teams in order to help them ease that stress. And so I'm so excited to have you all here. Your backgrounds are incredible. I'm not going to waste any time having you introduce yourselves because everyone that's watching the show today should be jotting their names down, finding them on LinkedIn, connecting with them, and be sure to tell them that you saw them on RTT, Recruiter Table Talk, okay? And I'll remind you to do that at the end. But I want to dive right into it today, and I'm going to pick on Georgia Musgrave because Georgia, you know, this whole idea of covering more ground. That's really what we're talking about here, right? You know, a recruiter's one person trying to figure this out. Covering more ground and actually personalizing this hiring approach so they get better results is something that you do day in and day out. So let's talk about why that's so important to recruiters these days.
Well, as you said, recruiters are managing multiple tasks and the demands are high, especially in healthcare, for example. This is an area where we saw a lot of pressure. And as a result, you know, and I love talking about this topic because it's all about building networks. And recruiters have additional networks. And given the work that we do and the flexibility of our model in particular, we can be brought in to really partner and personalize that recruiting approach. And as we know, you know, personalization is huge. In order to keep connected to the top talent, you want to make sure there's no gaps associated with the process and the approach that you're taking to recruiting. So what this means for a recruiter, if they are partnering with an external recruiter, such as, let's say, recruitment research, you know, you're going to be able to leverage quick sourcing, really identify a targeted market, a passive talent group that may not already be attracted, which is really gives a recruiter a leg up, makes them look great in the process. And because many of our clients come to us because their process itself and the approach that they take is slow going, so to speak, we are really able to personalize the approach with the candidates, keep those candidates warm in the pipeline, maybe take advantage of the time that we can give that a recruiter cannot give. And in addition, which is huge, is understanding the motivation of the actual candidates. You know, there's nothing worse than getting a candidate to a certain process just to learn that their motivation and maybe the fit is not right. So when you're partnering with additional resources like, let's say, our team, right? We're able, I mean, given the expertise that we have, we can really vet candidates and understand their motivation, which is huge. And it's a gap in many approaches today. And that's why I'm so excited to just share with recruiters that, you know, we're your friends. And get to know us and bring us in. It's very affordable. It's a great way to get, as I said, that leg up and make you look good in front of the hiring managers that you're able to perform at a higher level and a faster pace. So that's what I would say. And I think another thing I'd like to share, and Sharon will take this to the next level, and that's just the concept of building a talent pipeline and the advantage that will have to the approach that you're taking every day with your recruitment.
Yeah, I love that. So I love, Georgia, just this idea of you have access. You've done so many different types of searches. You have so many different pipelines of talent that you're automatically tapping into that recruiter doesn't have. So I feel so bad. Recruiters are starting from scratch every single time they're looking for somebody new. Having a relationship with an organization like yours is that built-in pipeline you're talking about. But Sharon, I really want to hear from you because this is an area of specialty for you and also something I know that's really near and dear to your heart.
Uh-oh. the secret is out. I know I'm trying to contain my excitement here, but thank you, JT. And I'd like to add on to what Georgia was saying with the internal recruiters and our partnership is that we have the same goal. We're working for the same hiring leader. We want to please the hiring leader. So that's the partnership. So what I'm going to focus on would be the multiple and long-term hiring needs for the same or similar roles. So I partner with internal recruiters often in my practice, and a couple of the industries include higher ed and accounting, the CPA firms. So I have been working with accounting professionals for many, many years, and auditors and tax professionals, I can tell you, besides the fact that they are super busy right now, they continue to be in high demand, more so than I have seen over the many years. And it's only going to get worse because the supply has been decreasing. Okay. So here's the thing with the accounting profession is most of them will start, and I'll say I hope they do, but will start their careers in public accounting. But they don't all end their career in public accounting, or at least not necessarily at the same firm that they start with. All right, so here lies the challenge. Finding those that want to grow their careers in public accounting. It's a great career path. All right. And are they open to changing firms? So we need to weed out those that have identified that they do not want to continue their careers in public accounting and want to move to private industry, to those that do. So the big question is, when are they ready to move? What are they looking for? And the why? So in most markets, there are multiple public accounting firms. And I can tell you, they're hiring all year long for audit and tax at all levels. That adds again to the challenge. These professionals, they're busy. We're all busy. They're busy. They're busy right now. They're not looking at job postings. Although most of them probably, if they knew that they were, ready to leave after busy season next month, that they've already brushed up on their resume, they're ready to go. So we want to approach them before and build that talent pipeline. So for example, late last summer, I started working with a firm in a big market. And we worked with them until mid January, so for audit and tax. And we built our pipeline. So we identified those that knew they don't want to continue in public accounting, they want to move to private industry. So those were for sure our no's. But then there are the no's that maybe are a not now type of a no. And those are the ones that we want to find. And we want to find out, what are they looking for and when. And maybe they just need a few more months. And there's various reasons behind that, of getting another busy season under their belt. They're going to be getting promoted in the spring, and they want to wait for that promotion and get their raise. So if we enter, and I enjoy this and have always done that, I wear a hat, what I call my hat, my career counselor hat. So I'm a career counselor recruiter type. So I want to court, I want to get to know them and learn about their career goal, path, journey,
I
and
love
talk
it.
about that. I love that. And then if I want to add one more thing in there. My other industry is higher ed, because it's very similar. They We just completed a 1-year pipeline recruitment project with a large university. They have multiple development needs. Again, multiple levels, and positions come up throughout. So our year-long journey, we developed a great list. It was a national search. And in finding again, what are they looking for their career? In addition to, can they move to where we needed them to move to? And during that time, new positions came up. So we might have identified someone for one position, but they were a better fit for something else that we didn't even know was in the works. So we gave them each week on a spreadsheet we uploaded from our database, our talent pipeline, all the contact information, all of our notes, and we identified who might be interested and maybe, or if they're not, as the why, because that will also help identify maybe there might be changes that they need to make. So with our process, we're gathering that competitive data analysis that is so helpful that we'll get to the hiring leader, and sometimes we're working directly with the hiring leaders as well. And for this university, we were really a part of their team. We met with them often and discussed the talent. So it was a great experience.
I love that. So, what you're making clear for me is that recruiters tend to have to be more reactive, internal recruiters, right? I have a job, I have to fill this job right now.
Right.
With when they partner, when they have an alliance with an organization like you're bringing that idea of pipeline to me is very visual, which is just to have so many more than just one in, so that as things arise, it's not a sudden let's start over and look again. It's where we've got this. And I love how you talked about nurturing and getting to know the talent. Recruiters don't have time for that. They don't have time to find out that you might be looking for a job in 6 months. I need you to want that job right now. Whereas you have the grace and the ability to be able to find more and be that career counselor. Better for them, better for the talent, better for the recruiter. This is coming together and making great sense. I love it. So let's bounce over to Kristen. So Kristen, I want to hear a little bit more about this idea of a la carte versus all-encompassing and how important that is.
Sure. Thank you, JT. Yeah, I mean, really, it's, think of a buffet of services, right? Do you want the full buffet or do you want something that's a la carte? And depending on which client we work with, we're able to offer different services. Everything usually starts with sourcing, of course. So we'll identify the candidates through an intake process, exactly what the client needs. But sometimes all they want is just a list. So we'll produce a sourcing project for them, make sure all of the specific elements are included. So if they want compensation information, they want the title of where they're at, the current employer. Sometimes they want to know who that candidate's boss is as well. So kind of tying into what Sharon was talking about. So the different levels of candidates, how they're structured within their companies, that can be great competitive intelligence as well. So you're in that process, we're gathering, benchmarking information. And then some clients want us to take it further. Now we've sourced these candidates that they want. They don't have the time to talk to them and vet them out. So we'll do a brief screening, gather a resume, send that on. And sometimes that's where our services stop. I would say the majority of our work is, though, a full search. So then we do take those screen candidates to the next step where we analyze who's the right one to move forward and thoroughly interview them, ask behavioral-based questions, and then submit them in what we call a profile form. The profile goes through their work history as well, asking very specific questions that tie back to the job description. Sometimes our clients will ask us also to conduct assessments or tests as part of the interview process before these candidates can actually start speaking with these internal recruiters or hiring leaders. So again, think of this, we're continuing to shorten the amount of time that internal recruiters and hiring leaders are needing to spend with these candidates who, one of them will ultimately be their hire, but they don't need to spend the hours that it takes to vet through 20, 30 names, narrow that down to 5. And then, ultimately they're just going to look at those 5 to 3 that we present. We can be helpful also scheduling the interviews. That's very time consuming when it gets to the client side. One thing that my colleague Colleen is amazing at is helping to negotiate offers. That's a tricky process. We're gathering that comp information up front, but then when it gets down to, okay, this is the candidate they want, sometimes the candidates change their mind about what they really want. And so we're here to be that negotiator that really makes the process so much easier for the hiring leader, the recruiter, so that they're not having to do that negotiation. And then finally, once that offer is made, we may even be part of their background check process, calling references. So that's the whole soup to nuts, buffet to a la carte. You can pick apart each of those items, and really, when it boils down to it, we're just trying to take work off of the recruiter's plate, because they just really don't have the time to do all of the sourcing, pitching, and screening of passive candidates. They only have time to go through their inbox, see who's applied for the job and hope that the right person applied. So that's definitely a big bonus of working with an external recruiter, especially somebody that's working in the research recruitment space.
I love it. You know what's really interesting about that, Kristen? So the way you described it, again, visually, I can see a recruiter coming to you saying, there are parts of the process that I've got down pat. There are parts of the process I like. Then there are parts that are bottlenecks that are not working for me. So I can see where the a la carte initially might be the way that they get in there, but very quickly they realize, ooh, but these all can work together and I can get more mileage out of this if I, take all of these roles and just hand them off and let them run these roles, let me focus on this. I can really see that recruiting partnership coming to life. And at the same time, there are so many companies that just do not need to have this full-blown recruiting function in their company anymore. I mean, I'm seeing it more and more now. We live in a gig economy. We live in a time where companies are staying core to, we only hire full-time for what is core to our business. And I'm sorry, but in a lot of cases, recruiting is not core to a business. And so for them to outsource it instead or partner, like we're talking about here, just really makes a lot of sense. And I think is the upward trend that we'll see now, given all that's going on in the economy. So I love the way you described that. And then last but not least, we're bringing it over to Colleen. Colleen, I'm really excited to hear about how, we tie this all together and bring it home. So talk to us a little bit more about that.
Great. Well, thank you, JT. And I love that you get it. You absolutely get what we do and the value of what we do. And I'm one of those people that just is very enthusiastic about the work that we do, primarily because we get to work with so many amazing people. I oftentimes joke that recruiting is not brain surgery. It really isn't. But what it is all about is relationship building. And I oftentimes like to refer to ourselves as matchmakers. And in order to be a really good matchmaker for our clients, it's all about courting the candidates. And so I'm here to talk about, courting candidates and really what that means in the world of recruiting, because we, of course, we've all heard the term courting in terms of dating and relationships. We also know that there's courting when it comes to professional sports teams, just for example, or at the collegiate level. I know they start getting courted very early on, sometimes even in 8th grade that's happening. And so we're all familiar with what that term is and really what that means. And to break it down, it's all about, really treating the person, at an elevated level. This isn't just a transactional type of relationship. And, sometimes, the internal recruiters, they are so bogged down with so many open positions that they may not have the opportunity to build the relationships and to do much more beyond the transactional piece that's needed for their job. And so as an external recruiting partner, really what we do is we're going out and we're recruiting the passive job seeker. Typically, we are striving to find the best 1% in their specific fields. And so, we're truly, headhunting. I know some people think that's a derogatory term, but that is in essence what we're doing. And part of that is, understanding that when you do connect and find the very best for what your needs are, oftentimes you have to treat those people a little differently. And so again, that's where the courting comes into place. And so there's just certain things that you can do And you can, for example, really demonstrate that you've done your homework on that person before actually reaching out to them and speaking with them. If they are, exactly the type of person that you want to recruit for your position, it doesn't play well to have your message demonstrate that you don't know anything about them. So do your homework on them. And then once you do have a connection with the candidate that you're trying to recruit, you really want to be able to show a genuine interest in, their needs, their motivations, their passions, the alignment with their skills and experience. What type of, cultural or, culture as far as an organization are they looking for? Really, understanding those motivations and those, those things about the candidate is what's going to, separate it in the process. And so again, it's just really all about that relationship building and treating them with respect as you go through the process, being responsive, not dragging the process out. Also, courting can be, I think along the lines of the many searches. I've been in recruitment for about 25 years now. And my specialty has, for over those years, always been in the healthcare industry and as well as the nonprofit space. And when I think of a lot of the work that we do in the nonprofit space, a lot of the positions we recruit for, like Sharon mentioned, development positions that she's recruiting for in higher ed, we do a lot of recruitment for development positions in nonprofit. Those people are relationship builders. And so they're a lot of fun for us to be able to, and easy for me to build relationships with. But when I build relationships with them, I am really able then to understand, what makes them tick? What are they truly looking for? What type of opportunity is going to, actually interest them to leave their current organization for? And so just getting to know all of those types of things. Sometimes we are doing, national searches, and we really need to understand their situation as it relates to relocation. Sometimes even this photo behind me it's a photo of my family, and it'll spark a conversation with a candidate where we talk a little bit about, what's their family situation? Do they have kids in school? Are they in high school? Really getting to know them and understanding, what obstacles do we maybe have in being able to get this person in this position. And it's a lot of fun. I over the years have been able to, really build deep relationships with candidates where they've become friends. And I think that's one of the best things about what we do here at Duffy Group is, working with people and the many people, both our candidates and clients, that we have the pleasure to, spend our days with. It's a lot of fun. But when it comes to courting candidates, the most important piece to remember is to build that genuine relationship. And with that, you'll be able to take the process so much farther and be able to get that hire, whether it's today or the right opportunity is down the line in the future.
I love it. I love it. What makes me excited is that you understand something that we know at Work It Daily, which is the really good talent. They're not job seekers, they're job shoppers. Yeah. Right. We call them passive candidates in the industry. That's an industry term. But for those of you that don't know what it is, it just means that they are not out looking. It really has to not fall in their lap, but come into their purview, and it has to fit their needs. And so to hear you talk about courting them, that's exactly what you need to do. These employers that you represent are brands, and you need to find the talent that's going to be excited about the brand and present the right features of the brand to get them excited and attracted to it. It is such a nuanced thing that, again, that daily recruiter internally at a company just doesn't have time to do, and so they need that partner like the Duffy Group in order to help them, which leads me to this. I know that we don't have a lot of time left. And I know that one of the questions that comes up from recruiters when they hear something like this is, this makes sense to me, but I now need to go convince the CEO, the executive suite that I need this. And they're going to, ask me why, don't I have all the tools that I need to get the job? So I'd like to put that back on all of you ladies. I don't know if any one of you would want to raise your hand and kind of talk to that. How do you help, recruiting teams justify this and explain the return on investment in something like this? Anybody want to take it? Georgia, you want to go? Colleen?
Yeah, I'm happy to jump in real quick and just say that, we really need to make sure that our clients or potential clients understand that, again, to what Sharon stated earlier, we are not competing with the internal recruiters. We want to partner with them. And so the way we describe it is that we work as an extension of their HR department. And so there are a lot of our searches where we are in, direct partnership. Sometimes it might be structured where we're doing the sourcing part, and that recruiter then will take the candidates that we submit and be able to take them further through the process. Sometimes the need is that the internal recruiter might be so bogged down, and we need to do the assessment part. So we certainly do that as well. But again, it's all about being able to, to work together and in partnership. And sometimes we need to, oftentimes I say, don't try and explain our model for us. Sometimes it's just a matter of all of us getting together on a phone call or a video to truly understand what that partnership looks like.
Oh, I love it. And I think that's it. They shouldn't have to explain it. All they have to do is get you a seat at the table to have that conversation. Because you know how to talk to executives. You do it all day long. You're recruiting them all day long. So I know you know how to do that. Another question that I have for you, and I don't know which one of you wants to answer this, but you work in all these different industries. A common thing you'll hear is, great, you do healthcare and education and accounting. I've heard some of those, but you probably don't do my industry. Or, I have this search that's truly unique. Is that really the case? I mean, have you ever come across a search that's just so out there, it's not something that you can do? Or when you have a unique search, how do you all address that? Who can I pick on to take that one?
Go ahead.
All right, Kristen's going to grab it. Thank you, Kristen.
Well, it's funny because that's how I describe us a lot. Like there's really no search or industry that we're scared of. Was that the case 10 years ago? Maybe, but I would say I've been with the company for 4.5 years, and what we started taking as searches then and what we're taking now, I mean, we are the brave recruiters of Duffy Group. And I think it really goes back to our model, that our model really works for just about any industry, any position. It works really well with those hard to fill positions because we have the ability to call into your competitors. So if you have an organization and you have a specific role that there's just not a lot of them, I think one example would be, we were working with a wind farm company, and they needed someone to be able to repair the wind turbine blades. And there's very few people that know how to do that across the country because it's a new technology, right? So we're able to now call into the direct competitors of our client and find exactly who does that. They have to have very specific education background and experience. So yeah, we're not afraid. That's all I get to sum it up.
I love that. I love it. The bravery and we're not afraid is fantastic. And Georgia, you have something to add.
I just want to jump in based on what Kristen just said. I'm usually on the front lines, right? So I don't actually go in and do the recruiting. I represent the company, talk to the clients. And so I am here to tell you, there are times when I'm talking to clients and I'm listening to their needs and the situation and the job. And I'm thinking, wow, this isn't going to be easy. And they know it's not easy, right? So they come to us. I talk to the team. And I'm not kidding, JT, probably, 100% of the time, they take it on and they're successful. And it goes to, like Kristen said, it's the model. And it's our ability to get to the competition. And think about a recruiter, an internal recruiter, who is landlocked and probably a little less willing or able to go into the competition. And so I think that speaks again to the flexibility in our model. And it's exciting. And I'm very proud that I can work with a team that has the capability to do that. It makes my job so much easier.
I love it. I love it. Ladies, this was fantastic. First of all, for those of you out there that are saying, all right, I think I need this type of alliance, please reach out, jot all of these women's name down right now. Go over to the Duffy Group on LinkedIn. Be sure to customize your connection request and say that you saw them on RTT, Recruiter Table Talk, so they know to connect with you. Because while there are a lot of different external partners that can help recruiters, this is a very unique way that you do things at Duffy Group. It's one of the things I was so impressed with when I met Kathleen, your founder, and the rest of you. And I think it's a conversation worth having, recruiters. Even if you don't think you have the budget, even if you don't think your executive team is going to go for it, you owe it to yourself this year, especially in 2023, to talk to an organization like the Duffy Group and hear a little bit more about how they could potentially support you. I'll just close by saying this. Recruiters, you don't want to be on the end one day of the C-suite walking down the hall and saying, why didn't we get this job filled? Why are we having a problem with this? You can only, make excuses or drag it out for so long before you're going to be seen as the problem. So if you know that you can't do this solo, and you can't in a lot of places, the time now is to develop a relationship with a company like the Duffy Group and with these incredible women. So ladies, thank you so much. I can't wait to have you back next month. I love that we're having monthly Recruiter Table Talks with you all. Folks, please like and follow here. That way you'll get all the latest updates when we're going live, especially with this amazing group of women. And one more time, I'll just say it, jot their names down. Go find the Duffy Group right now on LinkedIn. You will not be disappointed. All right, until next time, everyone, if you want to win, you got to work it daily. We'll see you soon. Take care.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.